Coach, speaking of putting your best foot forward, the fans certainly did that by complying with, the guidelines, and now it's been expanded to add more fans to the stadium. Talk about how that makes you guys feel.
Yeah, it was awesome to have those fans in the stadium. Just looking around, they did a tremendous job. It was one thing I tried to look around in pregame and see how compliant everybody was, and I was really impressed. And because of that, you get a chance to get more fans in the building. So, we could feel their energy. It was awesome. They did a great job, and so glad they were rewarded in a sense with more fans being able to come to the next home game.
Zach, what's the key to defending that offense? I mean, it's got a lot of smoke and mirrors to it, but it's also got a lot of talent to it. What's the key to defending that offense?
You got to be disciplined. We got to be very disciplined.
You expect Gino and Logan to go today?
They're going to start working back in individuals, and so we'll get a chance to evaluate them today and then see how much they can do tomorrow as well.
What has impressed you about Jordan Evans, and what did you think of him stepping in and contributing the way he did on Sunday?
I think Jordan's done a great job in his role, and he's turning into a real veteran on this team. He's always been a solid special teams performer for us. He's starting to get more opportunities there on the defense, and obviously he, however many snaps he had last week, he made some big plays there. He had a sack, he had an interception. So, again, those are great things to see from Jordan.
Zach, when the running backs go split out or they go in the slot or out wide, how much of that is by design and how much of that is Burrow maybe checking into that and having the motion out there?
It's a mix of everything. We're always just trying to put our guys in the best position, and sometimes it's called, sometimes it's a check.
How much pre-snap responsibility do you give Joe to go ahead and motion out when he feels like it? I mean, is that something you're comfortable with, and is that normal for a rookie to have that kind of responsibility?
It's by game plan. Those are things you talk about going into every game, and again, each defense you face is unique.
Zach, there's some more positives, COVID positives in the NFL this week, and wondering, are you guys taking additional steps to make sure that these guys are safe outside of the complex, or what's being done?
Yeah, it's just a great chance for us to take a step back and keep reinforcing to our guys, and really you're almost just fortunate that it hasn't happened to you yet, because it can happen to anybody. We all know that. And so just keep reinforcing with our guys that we got to do a great job wearing our mask everywhere we are. These contact tracers, the guys have done a really nice job wearing those. They've helped us a lot. And we look at that data every single day. And we got to continue to be diligent because you just see it happening around the league. It's just one or two cases occasionally, but it's just a good kind of warning shot to our guys and our staff that we got to remain focused and keep doing a great job so that we can play these games and keep each other safe.
What makes Lamar Jackson so dangerous, Coach?
Oh, I mean, he's just his athleticism, his strength. He's got just incredible power as a runner and as a thrower. I mean, there's times you think the play's over. It's almost like, when he's on crossover tape, when you're watching other teams' defenses sometimes, you almost click through the tape and you don't even realize they scored a touchdown and had an explosive play because you assumed he was sacked or down. And so, again, he's just there's a reason he's had all the success he's had. He's the league MVP. Obviously those guys believe in him, and they put a lot on his plate, and he handles it really well. So he's a tough task for any defense in this league.
But you game planned against a tandem of defensive ends that made the Pro Bowl, now a tandem of cornerbacks that made the Pro Bowl. Which is more difficult to game plan against, or are they equally difficult?
Yeah, this defense is equally difficult. They got great players at every position. And so you can't just focus in on one group. They play together as a unit. They force a lot of turnovers, TFLs, sacks. They put a lot of pressure on the quarterback in the run game. So, again, we got to do a great job being disciplined with our plan.
Every time you signed a guy in the off season, he always seemed to be a guy that played the run well. Good tackler that played the run well. That's the reason you signed him. This game would seem to be a centerpiece of how far you've come with that defense. The best rush team in the league.
Yeah, football intelligence as well. They really stress you with some of the things that they can do and put you in tough spots. You got to be able to think fast and react and be disciplined. And you're right in that a lot of the people we added, have those intangible qualities and physical qualities. And so, again, now we just got to have a great week of practice and be confident on Sunday.
Did you have the Ravens in mind when you were rebuilding this defense?
We got the Bengals in mind as we rebuild the defense, and just as we build this whole team, we just want to put our best foot forward. And obviously it does, you do look at the division and what are the strengths of the other teams. But first and foremost, we got to do what makes us a better team.
Joe Burrow had ridiculously good statistics against blitzing teams last year. What, for a quarterback to handle that, what must they be able to do?
Is a really good understanding of defenses, where our weaknesses are in the protection, and he's poised back there, and really he and the offensive line and the backs, I think are really in sync together with the communication. And so again, he doesn't panic for some of the difficult looks that he's presented with, and does a good job on covering in the pocket, take the pressure off the guys up front, and so again, just it's a collective effort, and I think that we're getting better with every game we play.
Zac, through the lens of wanting to have an explosive offense, how important is the act of actually throwing it over the top of everybody to do that? Is that something that you have to have shown the threat to be able to do that, or is maybe that even a little bit overrated in terms of what makes a good offense work?
I think there's times where you certainly want to push the ball down the field, but there's times where it just needs to come naturally. And just because it doesn't always happen doesn't mean that there's not opportunities for it in the progression, whether the coverage takes it away or the ball just goes somewhere else. But, again, it's not something that you just start forcing just because maybe a ball in the air hasn't traveled a certain amount of yardage for completion. A slant route for 80 counts the same as a post route for 80, and so, again, some of that stuff at times can be overblown and some of it does have some value. And again, we're just trying to do our best to score points. And really for us, we just look at we got to finish drives in the red zone. That's our number one thing. We feel like we've done a good job moving the ball, whatever that's looked like. We just got to start finishing off drives the right way.
What has made Joe and also the offense as a whole so good in the intermediate in front of that deep ball?
I'd say that one more time. I'm sorry.
What has made Joe and the offense so good in the intermediate passing game and in front of that deep ball?
Well, we do our best to marry that with our run scheme and your quarterback being really accurate and throwing with timing and anticipation. It's the second year for about half this receiving core of running this stuff, and so they're starting to feel a lot more comfortable when you look at TB and Auden and Alex and those guys. And then there's the guys that are getting their first reps this training camp and fall, and so you just feel like every week that this scheme is really starting to take hold with the guys where they're really comfortable. We get a chance to carry a lot of things from week to week that we don't necessarily call in the game, but the guys have been running it since training camp that we haven't even had a chance to show yet, just the way the games have unfolded. And so our guys are just playing with a lot of confidence right now.
Coach, what do you need to see from John Ross in practice this week for him to potentially be active on Sunday?
He's no different than all the players. We look at how competitive they are, what kind of energy they bring in the building. I think he's done a great job in that regard. The one thing I say is we feel like we got a really deep receiver room, and we factor in a lot of things as we look at the inactives every week, and it can always change weekly.
Having him on the roster, does it help prepare for a guy like Hollywood Brown, considering they're, both smaller guys, super quick?
Yeah, you certainly use all the resources you got, and so if you got guys that fit similar descriptions to some of the weapons that they have, you certainly want to find ways to get the most out of that in practice to prepare your defense.
Zac, what do you attribute league-wide the explosion of scoring this season that we've seen? Is it the coaching? Wink, wink.
It's not something I look at. We feel like we got to score more points. That's it. And I couldn't even tell you scores in other games usually, to be honest with you. It's usually on my drive home. My son might read me the scores. That's about the extent I know of it, and then you go home and go to bed and wake up the next day and start watching tape of your next opponent. So I wouldn't have been able to tell you that the score has increased.
To follow up to John Ross, kind of showing you a little Hollywood Brown. Who shows you Jackson? I mean, who do you have back there that can mimic and duplicate what Jackson can do?
Yeah, it's tough. So we'll be excited to see what happens in practice, But again, we got to be resourceful there.
Is Trent Willis still? Has he earned your trust to be Jackson's scout team again after last year's mishap?
I think we'll just find the best option there and throw someone in there and see if they can give us a really good look. Call the cadence, be able to handle the exchanges, make all the reads. It's a tough job.
Also, Randy's
did a great job. And had a little welt under his eye, but he said you should have seen the other guy. Talk about just how you like the play of him, but also the confidence of him.
I missed the name. Who'd you say?
Williams.
Williams.
Yeah. He just talked about being hurt, but he said you should see the other guy. But talk about his play and his confidence, the way he plays the game.
Yeah, I mean, he's been practicing for a couple weeks now, and life comes at you fast in this league. The guys he's had to block, and you can certainly see, not that his confidence has ever wavered, because there's a reason you took him, his preparation and what he does to put himself in position. But you can't replace the physicality that you're going to face in this league, and sometimes that just takes getting hit and seeing what the rush feels like and the run game feels like, and he certainly improved every single week. When he took that cut, when he was in the tent, I needed to know, is he out for 2 minutes or is he out for 20 minutes? And I felt a lot better when I found out he was out for 2 minutes. So he's a tough guy, and he never says boo about any injuries or anything like that. He just goes out there and plays tough.
Y'all have rostered Austin Seibert for a few weeks now, even though Randy's been pretty good. I mean, what's the value of having that a kicker take up that roster spot right now?
Well, you got a lot of roster flexibility right now with your practice squad players. So you're not really in the same bind as you would have been in previous years. And so, that gives you some flexibility to use guys at different positions when you got guys that are injured. And again, just as we do with the quarterback, you do with the kicker, it's an unusual time right now. You got to take every precaution you can have. He's obviously a talented guy that we like. But again, it's the protocols now, it's almost 6 days to get a guy in the building at this point. So you got to be really smart with how you utilize your roster.
Coach Stepwell, I guess that might feed into this, but did you guys take a look at maybe bringing in another defensive tackle? There's some veterans that are out there. Did you take a look at that, and was that a factor maybe?
It's something we look at, and again, these protocols have changed as of yesterday, how long it takes to get people in the building. So, again, we're looking at the waiver wire every day, guys that are on practice squads, and we'll continue to make decisions to help improve our team.
Is that easier to do than maybe a guy in the street? If a guy's already in a protocol?
It won't be as of next Monday. I think it's all going to be the same. It's going to be I believe it's a 6-day window starting Monday. So they're going to make sure, that guys are safe before they come in the building, regardless of where they came from.
Speaking of defensive tackle, Covington and Bledsoe, Bledsoe stepped up and given you some pretty good snaps, hasn't he, Coach?
Yeah, the more comfortable they get in the scheme. Who was the first guy you mentioned besides Bledsoe?
Covington.
Yeah, you're talking about two guys that really, Bledsoe got here, I don't know, August 20th, call it, and Covington got here at the end of August, early September. So those are guys that are starting to get more comfortable in the scheme, and I think they've given us some really quality snaps.
Any more questions for Coach? All right, Coach.
Okay.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Zach.
Appreciate it.